If you're into hi-fi and home theater, it's very easy to see some truly great setups from around the world thanks to social media. You get a real sense of what people are into nowadays, and you can quickly start to see and spot trends. Some trends are good. Trends like restoring old gear, for example, is a personal favorite of mine, but not every trend needs to stick around for the long haul. So in the spirit of having a bit of fun, here are 5 home theater and hi-fi trends that need to go away, at least according to me. Now this one is number 1 on my list with a bullet, and I understand that you may feel differently than me. Heck, you may even like them, but for me, I really hope LED backlighting goes away in 2021.
What did you say?
I hate LED backlighting. I think it's tacky. LED to me, LED is to cinema what MTV is now to music. And I know that there are those of you out there that think that slapping LED lights behind your TV or projection screen is somehow the same as bias lighting. It's not. Maybe at one point having a subtle LED glow behind your display or screen was or could pass for bias lighting, but I think we can all see the difference between this and this. I just have one question. Who is all of this for? You don't watch TV or movies with all these zany colors splashed all over the place, do you? So is LED lighting just for the gram or social media, a way of kind of flexing in photos? Because when it comes time to enjoy the show, I have to imagine all of this gets turned off, or at least it should. So again, who's it for? We get this request a lot, and I get it. I'm not trying to call out anyone or any channel, least of all those that do sound demos. You guys do you, but I think sound demos tell you nothing, which is why we don't do them on this channel. Because we get so many requests for them, at one point I actually thought about doing one, and then I listened to a demo of clipped La Scalas on YouTube through an actual pair of La Scalas, and I came away from that experience thinking to myself, listening to that same video on my iPhone was even worse. And we all know that a huge number of viewers are doing just that, watching YouTube on their phones. When I listened to that song being used in the video through the La Scalas directly, as in not through a YouTube sound demo, the experience was otherworldly. Here's how you can experience what I'm talking about. Grab your phone. Go ahead. Now, while listening to your favorite track in your room and while seated in your chair, point your phone straight ahead and just record a video. Let it run for a minute or 2. Okay, now stop the music and hit play on your phone. If you think the two experiences are comparable in any way, I have some stock advice that I would like to give to you for a fee. There's just simply no shortcut when it comes to demoing speakers or gear, either in your room or someone else's. You physically have to just park your butt in front of what it is you want to listen to and just hit play. You just do. So you guys can stop asking for sound demos.
It's not going to happen.
I think sound demos need to go away in 2021. I have never understood enthusiasts' obsession with formats. Sure, I want to ingest my favorite music or movies in the highest possible quality whenever possible, but that's just me. That's my choice. That said, if a track that I like is only available in, say, MP3, I'm not going to not listen to it, nor would I try and convince someone else to not listen to it either. Right now, there is a lot to do over MQA and whether or not it's worth it.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I would understand if MQA was mandatory or the format we all had to just use, but it's not by a long shot. So this whole notion that one has to have an opinion or that opinion is either on the side of truth or lies is silly. If you don't like MQA or any format, don't use it. Don't pay for products that license the tech, and if enough people make up their own mind and don't patronize a format or feature, guess what? It's gonna disappear. Just ask 3D, SACD, mini disc, and other formats that ultimately didn't win out and become commonplace. So how about we just chill on all the vitriol over formats and just let people enjoy what it is they want to enjoy in peace? Take solace in knowing that if you don't like MQA or streaming or vinyl or whatever, you don't have to use it. Now, a lot of products attempt to do it all. Maybe they're integrated amps with built-in phono preamps, DACs, Bluetooth, streaming, network connectivity, the works. Now, all of this is great, Except a lot of these products leave out one or two features that would make them true Swiss Army knives. Features like HDMI with ARC or eARC, or perhaps a subwoofer output. This means that I'm now left needing yet another product to fill that gap. And oftentimes that other product also does a lot of the things I already have in my so-called do-everything device. Inevitably, this overlap causes confusion. Which product do you entrust to do which task? I mean, it's crazy, right? Now, I am grateful that a few manufacturers have gotten the memo, and they understand that for their products to be truly versatile, they need to interface seamlessly with the one AV device we all have and use more often than just about anything. And that's our TVs. While HDMI and HDMI ARC, eARC may cause some audiophiles to want to run for the hills, it's an important connection option, arguably one that is more important than another analog or USB input. But the rise of HDMI and HIFI devices raises yet another interesting question. Modern smart TVs are quickly becoming incredibly competent movie and music streaming devices, ones that have all of the necessary network, wireless, and smart connectivity options themselves. They have great control, customization, and even have a big, legible display, one no hi-fi component can dream of competing with. About the only thing TVs lack nowadays are analog inputs and outputs, which means maybe the hi-fi product of the future isn't a Name Unity Atom or a Cambridge Audio Evo, but rather a basic integrated amp with one or two analog inputs for your turntable and a simple HDMI input. Better yet, maybe it's not an integrated amp at all, but rather a stereo or multi-channel amplifier that simply has an HDMI input and modest DAC inside. Imagine a world where your TV becomes your preamp, your processor, your streaming device, leaving you to choose just an amp and speakers. Now, that's a trend I'd like to see started in 2021. Now, nits have become a big deal with respect to televisions. Like megapixels to cameras, nits have kind of become weaponized, and one of the more regurgitated specs enthusiasts like to brandish as a measurement of quality and superiority. Look, I'm not saying nits aren't important. They are, but they're also not everything. For example, I adore our Vizio P-Series Quantum X TV, and I know that it has a reported 3000 nits of brightness at its disposal, but I have never, not one time, watched anything with the settings set to allow for that level of brightness. Why? Because I value my eyeballs. 3000 nits is bright. It is too bright. Our Vizio OLED in our bedroom, which doesn't have nearly the light output of the P-Series Quantum X, can still blind us if we're not ready for it. So all of these tests and brightness runs other people are doing in an attempt to just show you how bright a TV can get do very little to illustrate what it's actually going to be like to watch this TV comfortably day in and day out. So before you lose sleep over your next television purchase and whether or not it has enough nits of brightness, maybe ask the reviewer, salesperson, or whomever what the TV is like in its cinema profile or less bright HDR mode, because those are likely the profiles you're actually going to be able to watch and enjoy. So that's it. That is my list of 5 hi-fi and home theater trends that I think need to cease to be in 2021. And before we get to yours and the fun conversation that will ensue, I'm curious if there are any trends that Kristi would like to see go away.
Well, number one is bad packaging.
Okay.
I cannot tell you how many times we get sent products for review. Like, these people, the brands, they know their stuff is being reviewed.
Right.
And it barely shows up. Like, I mean, it shows up, but it barely makes it in the trip.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, really? Like, you know this stuff is going to be on video, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're really lucky we don't do
Unboxings.
So-called unboxing videos.
Yeah.
Because they would get trashed so hard.
Well, I think the reason why they might get trashed pretty hard is sometimes we don't always get things straight from the shipper or factory or retailer the way you would. And so, yeah, the packing material may survive one trip, but it ain't going to survive repeat trips. And after some of these things get passed around to multiple people, they can be in some pretty rough shape.
That is true, but we still get a fair share of gear that does come straight to us. Like there are companies that have times because they're running short on products or whatever that have even like shipped something to us through Amazon.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
You know, and I'm sorry, it's inexcusable.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable. And if your product can't survive a trip from the, you know, warehouse to our house, you need to rethink some things. So enough about that. One of the other things that bug me are people that put their gear on the floor. I'm sorry, guys. And you want to talk about wife acceptance factor?
Yeah.
You know, you want your wives, your significant others to be into your hobby with you. You know, invest in some furniture. It doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
Just get it off the floor. Now, if you're in high school or college and, you know, you got
a strict budget.
You got a strict budget, you're forgiven.
You do you.
You know, you're doing the best you can.
Yeah.
We get it. But once you've passed those points, I think it's time to, you know, again, put your stuff off the floor. I think you'll be a happier person.
I think the reason why some enthusiasts put their gear on the floor is because they probably believe that some furniture can impact the sound waves and thus the sound experience. And
yeah, that sounds made up.
it's not made up. It can, but it doesn't have as big of an impact as I think people are worried about, or that audiophile companies have kind of led us all to believe. That being said, a simple open face rack is going to let that sound, you know, through. And I think that if you have a big amp that's been designed to be on the floor, like the Mark Levinson mono blocks from back in the day that are like 3 feet tall themselves, or like the name reference amplifier, I mean, that thing is meant to stand on its own, right? So that's not what we're talking about. But if you've invested a fair amount of money in your gear, even if it's not even a fair amount, it's just modest money, I mean, take some pride and put it on a shelf or a credenza or, you know, something like that. Get creative. That's what I love about social media, is when people get creative and they don't use AV racks. They don't use furniture that screams hi-fi or home theater, and they end up repurposing something that quite possibly was made at a time that this stuff was never even around, and it works. It totally works. So that's a trend I like, but I'm with you. I'm against the trend of just, put it on the floor. Multiple components scattered all around, cables everywhere.
Oh, yeah, the cables
it's like,
everywhere.
Oh, come on.
Like you've got these like beautiful $1,000 amplifiers and speakers and stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's just like somebody just vomited cables everywhere. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, like, you do know that we can see that. Like you can tidy it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you.
even a zip tie can
Fix some
rein
of
in. Yeah. Help me help you.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. I think this one is probably even bigger to me than any of the ones I've already mentioned.
Okay.
And I know that this is going to really rub some audiophiles the wrong way, but there are some brands that are really, really resistant to offering their products online, meaning the ability to simply add to cart.
Yeah.
Wake up. This is, people aren't deciding what they're going to buy based off of an ad they see in a print magazine. There is beyond proof that print publications are essentially a thing of the past. Hi-fi stores, while some can be fun, some can be very unwelcoming.
Yeah.
I mean, we have ourselves walked into some local shops here in Austin who...
They really could care less if we were there or not. And I think at one point, selling online was viewed as a trend, and I think it's the norm. And
It should be.
It should be the norm. And if you're attempting to circumvent or skirt online sales, that's a trend that is not going to go well for you. It's not going to grow legs. Now that we've had the ability to have things literally drop shipped right into our lap, no one wants to go back. You know?
I mean, I don't understand why you would want to go back. You know, it opens up such a huge avenue of what you can experience. You know, most companies that are smart about it, that do offer direct to consumer sales, or even if they also have, you know, their products in stores like big box stores or smaller dealers.
Yeah.
They still give you an opportunity. Those that still give you the opportunity to buy online, most of those places have trial periods. So honestly, I really don't see what the benefit is to not giving that option, especially for lower priced products.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like all you're really doing is trying to create this like exclusivity to your product. And I mean, I'm sorry, are you allergic to money? You know, like, why? Like, somebody explain this to me. What is the mindset behind that? Because I frankly don't get it.
Yeah, and for every time that we get on a phone call with a brand, or I've been at a trade show and a brand has tried to tell me the reasons why they'll never do online sales because a dealer can walk you through everything and blah, 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 I just go, yeah, but look at Apple. Apple makes incredibly high-end products and arguably more expensive computers and personal electronic devices than anyone else in their respective space. And you can buy them on Amazon, you can buy them online, you can buy them at an Apple store, you can go to Best Buy and get them, you can go to Walmart and get them. And in many ways, I think like Klipsch has adopted that model to a certain degree, in that if your pricing is all set, so no one's going to get a better deal here or there, and you're available everywhere, you just have more opportunities for people to buy and enjoy your product. So yeah, I'm with you. It's like, I get it. The likelihood of a $20,000 pair of speakers being clicked by now on, say, Amazon is probably pretty low, right? But a dealer that has them in their showroom, and if you're local, obviously you're going to go and check them out, but hamstringing them to not being able to sell them to someone who might be 6-7 hours away, who isn't going to make that drive, is silly. Because they can still talk you through it on Zoom or on the phone or in an email. But yeah, forcing a customer to sometimes have to make that drive, it's silly. It's silly, and it's kind of irresponsible.
Yeah, and I think all you're doing is preventing sales. You're a part of the sales prevention department.
You really are pushing people that would otherwise buy your brand to someone else that's going to make it easier for them to do so. Totally.
100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of it.
So those are your trends or things that you've noticed
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're trends. I don't know if they're trends or not. They're just things that maybe they're pet peeves.
They're things that need fixing.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do something about these things. It's 2021 after all. I mean,
yeah. It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
These are easily solved problems.
I agree. Well, those are I think that makes it 8 hi-fi in home theater trends that we would like to see go the way of the dodo in 2021. Now it's your turn. What hi-fi or home theater trend are you over? Let us know down in the comments below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you used any of the links that Kristi left for you down below, know that that's a great way that you have continued to show your support for this channel and the work that we do here. And we both thank you very much. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that is it for us today. I know it wasn't a review, but hopefully it was a fun little video for you all. So remember, the only person who has to ultimately like the sound of your system is you. So happy listening, everybody. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.